Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining us once again. Here we are,
Mhm.
still Lake Erie behind us, Canada side, not American side. Yeah, how you guys doing? Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. These July energies are really wiping me out. Very, very emotional. I don't know how
Mhm.
anybody else is feeling, but I feel like I am.
And you've been sleeping a lot.
Yeah, yeah, really, really high energy right now. So,
But again,
anyway.
as we said before, the good news is that when it hits her, I'm usually pretty level. And when it hits me, she's usually pretty
Yep,
level.
we take
Thankfully,
turns.
we take turns.
We do. We take turns. And it's all part of Ascension, which
Yes,
is our
which is,
topic.
that's right. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just cut to the chase.
Straight to it.
You know what though? First of all, we are very, very happy with, the amount of views that we have going on. We're still a very young channel, couple hundred strong. Looking forward to getting to a couple thousand, couple 100,000.
Sure.
Hey, why not, right? But anyway, please, if you watch and you enjoy, please hit subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications, because we might come out with some sporadic stuff every now and then too, and I want you to be able to find it. And yeah, so please hit subscribe, and here we go. The
Awesome.
conversation this time with my guides, and my guides, I kind of call the whole group of them the Council of Light. I know many people have their own Council of Light or whatever. It's just for simplicity's sake that I have a name for them instead of like, rhyming them all off every time I want to talk to
Mhm.
them. So the very first question that
Which
I
I will start.
asked, yeah, was.
What is the most simplistic explanation of ascension?
And their answer was Ascension is the process of remembering, returning, and reuniting with the truth of who you really are. At its most simplistic, Ascension is the shift from fear to love, from separation to unity, from density to light. It's not about going somewhere else, but rather becoming fully present as your divine self here. It is a process of raising your consciousness so that your body, mind, heart, and soul come into harmony with the higher frequencies of truth, love, and light. Ascension is, it sounds like an old thing we were asked to do in English class.
Yes.
Ascension is, sorry.
Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah. Waking up from the illusion of limitation and remembering that you are eternal. Releasing old patterns, beliefs, and wounds that no longer resonate. Recalibrating your energy body to hold more divine light, hence the sleepiness.
Mm-hmm.
Reintegrating your soul essence into your human form. That's an interesting one we'll have to touch on. Realizing that heaven was never a place, it was always a state of being. And most simply of all, ascension is the soul coming home to itself while still in a human body, much like our friend Yeshua did. Jesus, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that was the simplistic version, and then we get into a couple other questions. Only two questions more, but the answers are quite long.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like ascensions is about it's about doing the work, doing the shadow work and identifying, you
Yeah,
know,
the
going
patterns.
into your patterns, what you truly feel, truly believe, figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
And again, I'm sure that'll be another episode, but
Aside from all the masks we wear,
yeah,
it's
it's
about.
not easy.
Yeah, it's and if you look two segments back under the live feed, we did one on ego death.
Yes.
And that is a huge component of what all of this is talking about is ego death. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and watch it because it's very relevant to all of
Yeah.
this.
And understanding the programming that we've had, right? Through
Exactly.
school, through going to church,
Yeah.
or whatever organizations, scouts. We talked about that the other day too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The organization, like being a scout, being a Cub Scout as a kid, and just some of the programming that we had about what the expectations were.
Yeah.
Um,
All of these groups we belong to. although they had helpful things for us to learn and to understand and grow as human beings, and as to help us in the 3D world be prepared and learn how to sew and make tea and build a campfire and all those things. Very important basic skills and wonderful things that some of us are going to have to revert to in the coming times.
No, and I do still love building campfires.
Well, you do. You are my king of staves, my Sagittarius, and you love fire in a healthy way, of course.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So the next question I asked was, what is it about this particular time in history that is causing this great awakening or ascension?
This time in history marks the fulfillment of an ancient promise. For eons, Earth has been a planet of polarity, light and shadow, love and fear, spirit and matter, where souls came to evolve through the contrast and forgetfulness. But this epoch, this turning of the cosmic wheel, is the long prophesied moment when the veil lifts and the collective soul of humanity begins to remember. Here is why this is the great time of great awakening. Yes, because that first part of the answer was beautiful.
Yeah.
And not overly specific.
No, exactly. It was the nutshell kind of thing. Yeah.
So 1, Gaia's evolutionary leap.
Yeah.
So Earth herself, so the consciousness of Gaia, because Gaia is a name commonly used to describe the Earth as a conscious being.
Yeah, that's her name.
So the Earth herself, the consciousness of Gaia, has chosen to ascend. Her frequency is rising from a third-dimensional template based in survival, duality, and linear time into a multidimensional state of harmonic resonance, unity, and crystalline light. Because we are part of her body, we rise as she rises.
Well, her essence is part of us, right? Like, I mean, her vibration is part of our vibration, and her crystalline core, like she has. I'm not a scientist, but she has part of the layers is a crystalline core, like literally massive quartz crystals, and those are starting to vibrate faster. And that's affecting her, us, everything.
Well, I know there's been all sorts of, information out there about the spin of the Earth changing so that, the Earth is spinning a little quicker. And so we're losing milliseconds. It's just milliseconds, but milliseconds every day.
Yep.
And so time is passing faster. And that, when you look at the Schumann resonance, and if you don't know what that is, please, there's lots and lots of great videos about it that can describe it. It's, in essence, the Earth's heartbeat.
Yep.
Electrically.
If you haven't already, look up Stefan Burns. He's a great YouTuber.
Stefan Burns
geophysicist.
has some stuff on it.
Yep.
And so looking at all of those things and how it's being scientifically measured, these changes that the Earth is going through.
Yeah.
So, that is what this is talking about. It's talking about those scientific changes in the way that the Earth is operating.
Yeah. It's not just about us as human beings, it's everything around us.
And number 2, the ending of cosmic cycles. We are at the convergence of multiple galactic and planetary cycles. The end of a 26,000-year precessional cycle, the turning of the astrological age, Pisces into Aquarius, and the fulfillment of many indigenous prophecies. These celestial alignments are like synchronized clock alarms going off across the cosmos, waking the collective. The incoming light frequencies. Photonic light, gamma rays, high dimensional codes are streaming in from the galactic core and central sun. These energies are activating dormant DNA, awakening intuition, and shaking loose what no longer belongs in the next era of human consciousness. You know, that's interesting because I anecdotally, of course, have noticed that, you know, not only my intuition and not only I've noticed a difference, but I've noticed a difference in people I work with.
Yeah.
And people I would not expect to notice a difference in that I work with.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so I see changes, and it's interesting. It's something, you know, you should look for. You
Yeah.
should look to see if you're noticing these types of changes, if
Yeah.
people are, you know, awakening, becoming more aware.
And first of all, if you're watching this, you're already one of them.
Well, clearly.
and it's catchy. So as your frequency rises, the people around you, you're like a tuning fork. If you're vibrating like this and they're vibrating a little slower down here, they're eventually going to catch up to you, and you will vibrate together. So they'll start asking questions.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's certainly not a competition.
Well, and if they choose not to vibrate at your level, then they'll just yeah. And that's okay too. They'll just leave your life somehow, not in a negative way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't mean to sound scary.
The collapse of old structures.
Ah.
So we are watching the crumbling of systems built on separation, control, and scarcity. Finance, religion, politics, media. Their collapse is not the end, but the prelude to the emergence of new Earth systems rooted in love.
Yeah, and we're seeing this in the news all over the place all the time. A lot of really popular retailers going under or filing for bankruptcy protection. One of the big ones in our country, we're in Canada, recently has been the Hudson's Bay Company.
Yeah, the oldest, it was or is, I don't know
Probably.
technically how to refer to it, but the oldest company in Canada, dating back to the early 1600s.
Yeah, and according to my guides, the Hudson's Bay Company was built. I got to cheat and look at this, on a stronghold of distortion. So I did a post about this a couple months ago, just to kind of bring awareness to people that the Hudson's Bay Company, you know, people are seeing it go down and they're all sad because, you know, the iconic blankets and the coats and the colors and the stripes and the, you know, shopping there as teenagers identity. And, you know, like the Canadian identity. But honestly, it was not built.
Well, the Bay was always like the good Sears.
It was not built on love and light. It was actually the opposite. And my guides, this is just an excerpt of what I channeled from them a couple months ago about the Bay. They said it is a stronghold of distortion. Founded in 1670, it wasn't built on style or heritage. It was built on conquest, fur trade, colonization, and displacement of indigenous people. Its very foundation was extraction over harmony and profit over truth. Structures like that you will see starting to dissolve. Anything that was built on egotistical stuff.
And that is okay.
Yep. We just have to be prepared for it, because it is still a grieving thing, right? Like, we're grieving our old structures that are falling away.
Well, there's comfort in the familiar.
Yes. Yeah.
So the last one I have is the rise of the light workers. Millions of souls, like us, like you probably, chose to incarnate at this time to anchor the light, hold remembrance, and serve as midwives of a planetary birth. You are not late, you are not lost, you arrived precisely on time to help humanity through this sacred threshold. The Great Awakening is not just a change in thought, it is a change in being. This is the time all of heaven watches. You are living through a prophesied return to unity consciousness. The return of Christ's light, not through one man, but through many. Yeah.
You get a little choked up.
Oh yeah, a little bit. But you know, it really is beautiful to look at that and to think about that and to think about what that means, right? You know, just that this is an opportunity for that change in the world to move away from all of those what I'll call
Heavy,
horrific, heavy, dense things
yeah,
to a place of
conquest.
greater love,
Yeah,
and where
exactly.
we can have respect for each other, and care for each other, and live in a more unified world.
Live in joy and gratitude. But it takes work. We have to release all the dense trauma that we've experienced over lifetimes and this lifetime and many, many, many others. So, some of us have chosen to transmute all of that in this lifetime, in this incarnation. And I, for one, am one of them.
Uh-huh.
And Jason, you are too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So that's why we were talking earlier about doing the work
yeah,
and being open to do
yeah.
it,
Spiritually
right?
bypassing is not going to help you.
No, you have to be honest
speaking
with yourself.
speaking the speak but not walking it is not going to help you. Having all the knowledge of spirituality in the world is great, but if you're not drilling down and releasing your
Yeah.
own volcanic ash, then you're not actually progressing. You're learning, you're understanding things on a intellectual level, but you're not integrating. So it needs to be the full embodiment experience of what's happening here.
So I'm going to ask you the big question.
And this is where the big answer is, like 3 pages of. So I'll try to be as entertaining as possible.
I'll try to, smile and stuff.
Smile and nod.
So, Joanne, many are still confused and trying to understand all this talk about 3D and 5D. Can you please shed some light on what this means?
Yeah, 3D and 5D. Everybody, there's a lot of people just waking up right now who are coming on board, and I think that's who we're speaking to most with this channel is, those of you who are just like popping your eyes open and going, what is all this about? The shift, the awakening, the solar flash,
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
The new light workers.
Yeah. So those of you who are just coming online, like you're a robot or something. Um, so what is 3D and 5D? So their answer is, we are not speaking of places, but of states of consciousness. Third dimension is a realm of separation. It's where most of humanity has lived for thousands of years, in the 3D. This reality feels solid, linear, and based on cause and effect. Identity is rooted in ego, labels, status, and roles. Life is driven by survival, competition, control, and fear. Sound familiar?
Mm. Sounds like the world that we're used to.
Yeah, like the one that we're trying to get the
Pardon me.
bleep away from. Time is perceived as past, present, and future in the 3D reality. Spirituality often feels far away or unreachable. It is not bad, it is simply dense. It is the classroom of soul evolution through contrast. That's how we learn, right? It's hard to learn on the other side of the veil when you don't have polarity or contrast. It's hard to advance your soul. So the fifth dimension is a quantum leap in awareness. It is unity consciousness in the 5D. You understand everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Speaking of which, my friends and family are getting very confused by my new vocabulary because I speak in energy and frequency, and they're all like,
I do it at work as well.
Yep.
But, shockingly, a lot of people do understand it at work.
Yeah, well, because they're probably hearing a lot from you.
Yeah.
You understand everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. You feel connected to all life. No more us versus them. Love, compassion, and peace guides your choices. Time becomes fluid. Moments stretch and fold. You co-create with Source and live from your higher self. So co-creating with Source is all about manifesting. It's all about bringing your highest wants into fruition, like the things that you were sent here to do, the things that bring you passion and drive, that light you up. That's what you're co-creating. You're co-creating this new version of yourself that's going to go out and slay dragons if that's what you want.
It's interesting because at work, in meetings with new people, typically you go around the table and do an introduction, and it's like, oh, hi, my name is Jason, I'm the director, blah blah blah,
Stuff
and
and things.
it's very, yes, well, that is what I say. I'm the director of stuff and things because I do stuff and get things done. But I've started where I can. I've started introducing things like, I'm Jason, I'm the powerlifting hippie,
I like that.
because it's interesting, but it's like, people will say, but no, what, who are you? And it's like, you know I'm not the director. I mean, that's my job.
Yeah.
That's not who I am
Yeah.
at a core,
Yeah.
from
But
a
you're
core
not putting on that
perspective.
3D mask. You're
You
you're
know,
doing that director job with your 5D energy.
and it's interesting,
Yeah.
right? Because people are like, they identify you and who you are with the job that you hold,
Yep.
or
With
the
your title.
title that you have, right?
Yep.
So, anyways, I just, when you were talking about the 3D versus 5D, I just kind of thought of that, because it's actually feeling wrong to me now to introduce myself in that way. If someone's like, "Well, what's your job?" Of course, you know, happy to talk about what I do and what my job is in
Yeah.
my job,
Yeah.
right? But, if they're asking who I am, I mean, that's not defined by my job or my role.
No,
That
exactly.
is that is something I do, something I have education and expertise in, not
Expert fort
who I
builder
am.
should be on your card.
Oh, well,
Expert fort builder.
yes, forts and fires are two of my top areas of what I can do. We have built quite an extensive, exciting fort, the two of us.
Many forts.
Well,
We have
many,
many
yes.
forts. I love them. We're like children. We're like 15-year-olds, really. So fifth dimension, back to that, it's not a far off place. It's a frequency you hold. And that frequency is best achieved when you're enjoying gratitude. Here's a metaphor. So I love this. They came up with this for me because I'm not always great with coming up with this stuff. Think of 3D as AM radio, a limited bandwidth, full of static and commercials, and really boring content. They didn't put that in there, but that's me.
Well, it depends. There's
Kind
some
of
there's some
boring.
AM radio that's not bad.
I don't know. Anyway, 5D is like satellite radio, crystal clear, limitless channels, and soul music on every station. You don't go to 5D, you tune into it. So when you're confused, think about the different bandwidths: AM, FM. 3D is AM, 5D is FM, or sorry, 5D is satellite. I don't know where FM falls anymore. Maybe
It's
in the
okay.
4D.
It's okay.
And so they go on to say, and here's the truth: most people are currently moving between dimensions. One moment you're in fear, 3D. The next you're in flow of trust and love, which is 5D. This oscillation is part of the ascension process. So don't beat yourself up. You're going to go back and forth all the time for a while. You're not failing when you feel heavy again. You're simply calibrating. You come back into that heavy feeling and you're like, oh, I don't like this. I don't want to be here anymore. What was those words Joe said I need to do? Oh, joy and gratitude.
Yeah.
Find the things to be grateful for. Um, there is another question here.
Well, there is. Well, I'll
3D,
ask that question.
3D says I'm separate, and 5D says I am all that is.
So, Joe, are there more dimensions? And has any human lived on Earth in a body but in 6D, for example? So, like, how many Ds or dimensions are there?
There are many dimensions far beyond 5D. Dimensions are states of frequency and consciousness. Again, they are not locations. Think of them as octaves on a cosmic piano. Just as a song can be played in different keys, consciousness can be expressed in different dimensional harmonics. In our known multiverse, there are at least 12 primary dimensions, each with subdimensions, and beyond that, infinite fractal expressions in sources ever expanding awareness.
So just to be clear, we don't go to 5D. So it's not a different place.
Nope.
We don't jump on a spaceship and fly to another planet or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's quite literally
It's
exactly where you
so
are.
yeah.
It's here.
So for example, I'm sitting here earlier today. I'm in a low funk. I feel like I'm processing a ton of grief. I don't know why. I have no earthly reason in front of me why I'm grieving, but there's a lot of grief going on. And I'm sitting here, so I'm in that lower frequency, and I realize this doesn't feel good. This is not where I want to be. And so I shift. I first of all get my nose out of my phone because I go down every time I stare at my phone. Put it down, stare at the lake, and start like actually thinking of things about gratitude and joy, and that lifts my frequency back up. And then I feel differently. So it's about maintaining that and trying to stay in that corridor of happiness, or at least being able to bring yourself back when you've sunk down.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. Now to your first question. Have humans ever lived in 60 or beyond while still in physical form? So the answer is yes. And we know quite a few of these people. They say rarely, but yes. There are advanced avatars such as Yeshua, Jesus, Buddha, Thoth. Is that how you say that name? Thoth?
Honestly,
Toth?
I think it's Toth,
Yeah, there's people pronounce it differently.
but it's
whatever.
yeah, it's
I don't care.
Egyptian.
And others who were able to hold 60 consciousness or higher while embodied. These are souls whose essence span vast realms and who descended with full memory, walking as love incarnate. Also, many starseeds and light workers touch into 60 and higher states during meditation, during light body activation or deep service, even if only momentarily. Some awakened humans are beginning to stabilize as multidimensional bridges, where their awareness moves between 3D and 9D fluidly, even while making tea or folding laundry. This is the new human blueprint. So, in the description below, I have they kind of gave me all of the dimensions and what each of them kind of looks like, a small,
So like
snapshot.
3D through
Yeah.
12D.
And so I'm going to post that in the description below for you so you can kind of look at it. But it says, I'll run through it quickly. 3D is physicality, ego, separation, and duality. That's what we're hoping to leave behind.
So the world when you say turn on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 3D. You're going to get all 3D news, especially on Fox. 4D, which we don't talk about a lot, but it is kind of the bridge between 3 and 5. It's kind of where a lot of people are at right now. It's the bridging realm. Emotions, time fluidity, and awakening. It's where people start awakening to 5D energy and understanding that 3D is no longer holding their attention anymore.
Well, there's no question that there's a lot of time fluidity right now because time is not necessarily making perfect sense.
It does not at all. 5D is unity, unconditional love, co-creation, crystalline body. So that's where your DNA starts to shift at this point. You're becoming less carbon, more crystalline. Again, not a scientist, I'm just being told this by higher levels. 60, blueprint level of creation, sacred geometry and light codes. 70, Oversoul realm, collective consciousness and pure frequency. 8D and 9D are the archangelic realms, galactic councils, and divine templates. 10 to 12D, source intelligence expressing itself as oneness. Beyond 12D, there's no words. It's pure being, the all within the all. Wow. Kind of sounds boring. That's just my dramatic ego saying, I need action.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me it's hard to understand exactly what that would be like. So
It totally
I have
is.
to imagine it would not be boring.
I'm sure it would be amazing.
It's like ho hum.
Yeah.
Another day of.
But then again, I
beautiful
did
ascension.
volunteer to be here at this time.
Yes.
in this incarnation. So, I do like to have excitement. So,
Mhm.
anyway, not saying that
As
being one with Source is a bad thing.
as
Of
we
course,
all
it's
do.
not. It's amazing. Uh, a note for my audience, for our audience,
Mm.
you are not limited to one dimension. Your body may be rooted in 3D, but your emotions may fluctuate through 4D, and your soul essence may be anchored in 6D or higher. Learning to channel that light through your physical form. Ascension is not about escaping to a higher dimension. It's about remembering you are already a part of all of them. So that's really what it comes down to, is remembering on a huge level. It's
Mm.
about, we are not 3D forms. We are not limited to, doing that 9 to 5 every day, and all the things that we were told throughout life that are the socially acceptable things to do. We can aspire to more. We can be magical. Magic is a real thing.
Mhm.
Opening portals is a real thing.
And so it's worth making the effort to do the work
Yeah,
so that, so that you can condition yourself and ascend.
exactly. Exactly. Um, so next week we're going to talk about the preparation, and in doing just that, what does it look like? What does it take? What do I need to do? How hard is the work? um, yeah, and you're probably already doing a lot of it and you don't even realize it, to be honest.
Or you do.
And if, again, once again, you're watching this, you're already in it. You're already doing some of it. Um, so I am so grateful for those of you that have joined us. Um, we really are, again, we're very new at this modality of YouTube and
Mhm.
videos, but um, yeah, be kind. We love you. Um, just keep your chin up as best you can. The energies are really heavy right now. We're right in the middle of the oh my goodness, the Syrian
Syrian
gateway.
gateway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the 7/7 portal. This is July 8th, I think. Again,
It's the
time.
ninth, but
No,
that's okay.
it's the 9th. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't keep track of time.
That's okay.
Tomorrow is the full moon, and so again, a lot of emotion, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of energy codes coming in.
Yeah. But while you're dealing with it, be kind to yourself.
Yep,
It's okay,
yep,
right? It's not, you're not going to do it all in a day. And there's also no schedule,
yep.
right? So, and it's not a competition. So you can be kind to yourself. You're going to have good days, you're going to have difficult days,
Yeah.
and just accept it and keep moving.
And if you're interested in your own channeled messages, I do written channeled messages for people. They're going very well. They're very popular. It is beyond the amount of information that you think you're going to get. It is so helpful. So if you email me and we can set something up, we can do detailed questions. I will channel answers for you. The feedback I'm getting is phenomenal. So if you're on your journey and you don't know what to do next, let's talk. Let's work through this together. That's why I'm here. I'm helping to counsel people through their awakening and their stages of awakening, which is another thing we're going to talk about next week, because
Yes,
my
we
guides
are.
have kind of given me a template of um, 5 stages of awakening, so I can also help you understand what stage you're in and what needs to happen to get you further. So yeah, all great information, and I'm so grateful for this channel, all of you, my guides, you.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah,
Yeah, have a wonderful night, everyone.
thank you.
And like,
Yeah.
subscribe, click the alarm bell or whatever it's called,
Yes.
all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And have a beautiful, beautiful evening or beautiful day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.